What's the choice you made today?
I chose to go to both my jobs today. I didn't call in anywhere.
To come to work and not get angry with anybody.
I made the choice to move to Tennessee on June 4th.
To get out and ride my bike, get some fresh air, be with a friend.
Today I decided to dance and entertain people.
I went to the gym, have a cookout.
I guess not drink.
To choose whether I should take my daughter to her dad or her cousin to watch her today.
I made a choice to come to work, and now I'm here.
What's the choice you made today?
Gizmo and Divot.
Okay, we're done here. This is Jacob Tisdale. He's my cousin. He has acted as a very fatherly-like figure in my life. He's currently attending Augustana College. Why did you decide to go to college, Jake?
I guess you could say that I've always been an enjoyer of learning. I enjoy more the approach of gaining a deeper understanding of the subject material as opposed to just memorizing things simply for a test. That approach kind of defeats the purpose, in my opinion, because if you just learn things for the purposes of a test, you soon forget them. If you gain a deeper understanding of subject material, it stays with you a lot longer, and I guess that kind of appeals to me. And also, I'm the first in my family to actually go to college, so it's somewhat of a rite of passage for me. And also, I've just been told from the time I was young that key thing you can do to ensure that you'll be successful in life is go to college. So I guess it's a combination of those few things that made me decide to go to college.
Why did you decide to go to Augustana?
I decided to go to Augustana because it's a setting that's not all that different from my high school setting. The class sizes are similar, and there's a similar amount of students attending. And it's a quality school that's very close to where I actually live, so it was a logical decision more than anything.
Alright. What are your career goals?
My goal for a career, I'm currently studying Spanish and education, and my goal is to become a teacher in a school for bilingual kids, which would be a program for kids who can't speak English proficiently yet. So they need to be taught main subject material in Spanish so that they can actually know things about core subjects, and also to transition them into speaking English, of course.
What made you decide to major in those fields?
I majored in Spanish, honestly, because I really enjoyed Spanish classes in high school. I've always really enjoyed learning about grammar, and Spanish is a whole new language to explore for me. I chose education simply because I like teaching. It's something I've always enjoyed doing, teaching people. Something I enjoy.
What are you going to do after college?
After college, I suppose teaching positions are kind of hard to come by, so I guess I'll put out as many applications as possible and probably substitute teach in the meantime for some experience to look more appealing to prospective employers.
All right. Thanks for the interview.
Thank you.
My name's Lori Ruby, and I am a nurse at Trinity Medical Center in the Heart Unit.
So what made you decide to become a nurse?
Well, I was working as a housekeeper at the hospital, then started working as a nursing assistant, and it was just one of those things where I wanted to show my kids that, you know, an education was important. And even though I waited to go to college to decide what I wanted to do with my life, nursing was something that, you know, helping people and being that person that people, you know, came to when there was a problem. It always seemed to be what people did with me in their life. They would always come to me with questions and problems. So when I got to working in a hospital and seeing people in that role, it just was a natural fit. It's what I thought that I should be doing.
All right. And what made you decide to have 4 awful kids?
Well, I was an only child. Well, my sister and I are 13 years apart, so I didn't ever want to have just one child. And I like even numbers, so 4 was an even number, and just happened to have 4 kids.
So what do you like about your job?
Well, since I work with patients who have heart problems, I get to see a lot of different kinds of people with a lot of different kinds of what we call comorbidities. So they don't just come in because they have a heart attack. They come in because they have uncontrolled diabetes, or they come in because they have uncontrolled kidney failure. And it's nice when you work in cardiac because it's a growing profession. There's a lot of new things that they're developing to treat heart disease. It helps to take care of all those other illnesses that people suffer from. So being somebody that can take care of them when they're in a crisis and help them to get better through that crisis, or also to be the person to help educate them on things that they can do to help themselves when they're not in the hospital. You know, just because you're in the hospital and you're sick, you have to go home with this disease and this illness and live with it for the rest of your life. So I get the opportunity to see them at the beginning and give them ideas of things that they can do and take home and have a fulfilling and healthy life, you know, after, you know, they've had the problem.
So what made you call me Johnny?
Well, because your dad wouldn't let me call you Mitchell, which was my first choice, because it was my maiden name, and I didn't have any brothers, so I wanted the Mitchell name. But your grandpa was John, and his dad was a John, so it just seemed like it was natural to name you Johnny Mitchell Ruby.
I like that a lot better.
Instead of Mitchell David Ruby, which is what I wanted to call you. Your dad said no.
Thank you for being on here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
This is Dolores Barca, and she is my role model. She is my role model because she went to college and she opened up her own business, Lolitas. Why did you open up your own business?
So I didn't want to work for anybody. That's sad. No, it's true though. I worked at JCPenney for a few years, and you had to put up with managers and salespeople, and it just wasn't fun. So my mom and dad have always had a business, and they said, hey, open up a restaurant. It's easy.
Did you go to college for it?
I went to school for business administration, so basically, yeah.
How did you go about opening your business?
Well, my parents have already had experience with their business because they've had restaurants since the early 70s. So I basically told my mom, hey, come help me open up a restaurant, and she did. And that was 18 years ago, 17 years ago. I'm still here.
All right. And what did you major in?
Business administration at University of Texas in Austin.
All right. What are the really frustrating parts of running your own business?
Employees. They just bug you and bug you and bug you. No, frustrating? There really isn't anything frustrating.
Customers?
Well, no, you deal with customers in any type of business that you're in, whether you work retail or for somebody else, or so. I mean, you just take it one customer at a time. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Okay. Like I said, employees, they just bug you and bug you and bug you. Okay, what happened?
Except for me, right?
Oh yeah, especially you. No, okay.
Alright. Do you enjoy your work?
Yes, I do. Actually, I don't think you can run a restaurant unless you enjoy being around people and dealing with people day in and day out. Okay.
Alright.
This is my sister, Brittany Blakeney. She's going to be graduating Augustana College this year. She was always there for me when I needed help on my homework. Why did you decide to go to college?
Well, after high school, I immediately knew I wanted to go to college from talking to my family and figuring out that I wanted to further my education. But from some of the things I thought about what I wanted to do, you would need an education for. I thought maybe I could be a teacher or I could work in a big law firm or, just things like that that you need that further education for. So I decided to pursue that.
What are you going to be majoring in?
Well, I'm going to be graduating with a double major in Scandinavian Studies and Applied Math. However, when I first started college, I had no idea exactly what I was going to be doing in the end. I mean, I started off with an education major and a math major, doing both of those, and then after taking a bunch of different stuff, I was realizing that that's not exactly what I want to do. I want to do something different. So I switched it about 3 different times before I finally decided on becoming a Swedish major and an applied math major as well.
Why did you decide to change your major?
I mean, a lot of the ed classes that I decided to take or that I needed to take for my education major were very interesting, but they talked a lot about different politics with education and stuff like that. Stuff that I didn't really think I wanted to be dealing with or doing for the rest of my life. Yeah, it was interesting, but I want to do something that's exciting that I can go to work every day and just be like, yeah, this is a lot of fun. This is what I want to be doing for the rest of my life.
And what do you plan on doing with your major?
Well, I'm not exactly quite sure. Math's a pretty broad area. You can do a lot of different things with it and apply it in a lot of separate areas. The area I studied in was accounting, but I'm not going to be a CPA or anything like that. But there's a math museum that I was looking into going to visit to see if they had job openings and applications, which would be a lot of fun because then I would get to show little kids and other people how math relates to a lot of different areas and genetics and things like that with cool little exhibits and stuff, which would be a lot of fun. But I'm not exactly sure, but I know what I will be doing will be something that I like to do.
So what do you plan on doing then after college?
Besides just searching around for a job and figuring out what I want to eventually do, I'll just continue working where I am now and just, finding a place to live on my own, moving out, paying off those college loans. But other than that, just sticking around until I can find out what I want to do.
Well, sounds good. Well, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
There's no way I'm gonna pass this test. Screw it, I'm just gonna cheat. Why do people even study when they could do this? Aw man, now I'm gonna fail English.
Oh, hell yeah, beans! Oh.
So a choice I made was to buy this beautiful car. It cost me $6 grand, and I had my parents co-sign for a loan. We drove up to Wisconsin to buy it sometime in May, and I drove it for 6 months, and I learned to drive stick with it until September 17th. So I was hanging out with my friends that night, driving around. Was pretty distracted. Decided not to yield a left turn, and the rest is history. Did you zoom back in?
One choice that I made was to speed. I didn't even really know I was doing it, and the cop pulled me over and said I was going 15 miles per hour over the speed limit. He gave me a ticket, but I didn't have to go to court. So I decided not to tell my dad, and my sister helped me pay it online. And then we had to mail the original ticket into the courthouse. It was $120. And then because I got the ticket, my insurance went up, and I had to pay the difference of that as well. So I was out a lot of money, and yeah, it was a bad choice in general. And I also got a probation, so I was like back to the like 10 o'clock curfew.
Choices are the things that make up any one individual, for good or for bad. Excuse me, can we, never mind! Excuse me, will you answer?
That's all, folks.